Well, it's Fair Trade Fortnight and I am literally in chocolate heaven here. This morning we're making a delicious chocolate dessert that you can enjoy completely guilt-free, and it's all thanks to Divine Chocolate. So I'm joined by David from Greenwood-Haigh. Is that correct?
Right, yeah.
From Divine Chocolates,
That's
David.
correct.
So tell us, what are you going to make this morning?
I'm going to make a French dish called ganache.
Lovely.
And the story behind ganache is it means fool. And the story goes that a young chef was walking across the kitchen with a bowl of cream and he tripped and spilt it into the chocolate, and the head chef screamed across the kitchen, "Ganache, look what you've done, you've ruined my chocolate." And the young guy quickly stirred it and thought, "Oh, what's this?"
Okay, brand new recipe came out of it.
And the name has stuck, so I'm going to try and make that for you this morning.
Okay, so ganache can be either a topping on a dessert,
or a sauce, or it can then be chilled and used to make truffles.
Okay, fantastic. So that's what we're going to do this morning.
Irish lady that's made quite a few euros by making a product like this, and she started in the kitchen. You may know who I mean.
I think I do.
I've taken some Divine 70% fruit and nuts. I thought we'd do something slightly different.
Okay.
And one of the qualities of chocolate is dark chocolate should have a snap, and I hope you can hear that as you break the chocolate. If it doesn't snap, it means it's been tempered incorrectly, and that would be dull and fudgy and wouldn't be quality chocolate.
Wouldn't have the same flavour.
Certainly be less than 70%.
Okay.
So you break this
hear
up.
that snap.
Absolutely, and then as we open it, we use the rest of our senses. We should smell, and I'll try and have this near your nose so you can smell the chocolatey smell. There should be no chemical smell, just
gorgeous,
a really,
very strong smell of cocoa, isn't there?
Absolutely, and you should see a sheen and a shine on there.
Yeah, there's a real gloss to it.
So we've used, the only sense we've not used now is our taste, but we'll do that in a second. So we've put 400 grams of chocolate in there.
Okay.
And then 200 mils of cream.
Okay.
These need to be the same.
Regular pouring cream, David?
This is just pouring cream,
okay.
Yeah. They need to be the same temperature, that's the only specification. And then we're into the microwave oven for 30 seconds. Most of us were taught, that's the right button, most of us were taught to melt chocolate using boiling water.
Yeah.
But chocolate burns at 50 degrees and boiling water boils at 100 degrees.
Yeah.
So it needs to be very, very low heat. If you can't put your hand in the water, it's too hot. So you really need to be very careful. So the microwave's great, but just 30 seconds, short bursts.
30 seconds is enough.
It only takes about 2 minutes, so it's in for 30 seconds, out and a little stir, then back in, and we do that.
Okay.
Hopefully that will do.
David, tell us, fair trade and organic produce have become so popular in the last few years. Tell us, what makes this chocolate fair trade? I know obviously it means the farmers are getting a fair price for their produce.
Yeah, the cocoa beans that Quapper Cocoa produce, they're paid a fair trade price for. That's one part of the equation. On top of that, they actually get $150 a tonne, which is their fair trade premium.
Okay.
Cocoa's traded in American dollars, and it's controlled by the New York Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange, which is obviously very close to where cocoa's grown. So they get that, and the villagers would sit down at the end of the year and decide how they spend that premium. It's a social premium, so it could be on schools, it could be wells, it could be microfinance, an income generation.
So it's invested back into the local towns and villages, David, very importantly.
So you can see there seems to be very little change here just now, but it's just starting to melt, and that's great because we're not rushing the chocolate and we're not going to burn it.
Of course, okay. Well, we've about 1.5 minutes left, David, so we might just rush through the process just to explain how the truffles are made, because this is a lovely gift idea we have here, isn't it?
Absolutely. Gorgeous. If I take one that I made earlier, and I've put this in the fridge for 2 hours and allowed it to set, then I can...
So this was just the cream and the chocolate melted together, that's it?
Yeah, and then you put it in there, and you either use a melon ball or a little scoop, as I've got here. And then you could dip that into chocolate, into melted white chocolate or dark chocolate. You could cover it in cocoa powder, as I've done here with these, icing sugar. You can then put some spirit in there. At the liquid stage, I'll still carry on because we may get
Go ahead, yeah.
this to do. So you can coat them and change the flavours so it's not just chocolate and cream. But you can see this slowly starting to take form now.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it another 20 seconds.
So you may add rum or you may add other ingredients,
but not at this stage. You do that once it's all blended, and it will be a very thick, pipeable consistency. Then you can add the spirit in. And you don't need to add really good spirit, because if you do, the chocolate will overpower it. So it can be cheaper, unless you want to sit it on the table and tell your friends how discerning you are.
You also have fruit here. Actually, David, we have the cocoa beans as they leave the farm, which is great for us to see these. This is as it's grown from the plant. Is that right?
It is. And then they're the
and
cocoa
these are
beans.
the cocoa beans that they would export.
Exactly.
Did I read, David, in some of your notes that some of the farmers in Ghana wouldn't have even known what their cocoa beans were going to make?
No, they would absolutely have no idea that it was making chocolate. Now, because our farmers actually own half the company, when we have board meetings in Ghana, we take chocolate out.
Okay.
So now all our 47,000 farmers know what they're making, and they're really proud that they own a chocolate firm.
And they get to see the final product,
Absolutely.
which is great.
Yeah, it's a real... And we've got 2 cocoa farmers that we brought to Ireland last year. We've got another 2 coming over next year, so we'll bring them round and show...
Okay. Great stuff. Well, where can people buy Divine chocolate, David?
You can
Most
buy this
importantly?
in every Oxfam Fairtrade store, and there's one here in the city that they can see. There's one in Galway, one in Belfast, and one in Cork.
Okay, so they're dotted all over.
Absolutely, and you'll find it in Dunn's.
And just before we go, very quickly, there is a fair trade towns map now.
Absolutely.
So we're all becoming much more aware of ethical produce. And
there are 38 fair trade towns across Ireland currently, with another 29 working towards a status, and that's faith groups, campaigning groups, of fair trade towns committees.
Fantastic. Okay, it's guilt-free food. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely, that makes
a reason to eat chocolate. Not that I needed one. David, thank you very much for coming in this morning.
Absolute pleasure.
We'll see you again, I'm sure.